Hello and welcome to Concert Pipeline. I'm Steve Jones. Today on the program we have Sid Simons, and I had a chance to chat with Sid Simons about his new album that's coming out on June 23rd called Beneath the Brightest Smiles. He is formerly of Girlskin. He had a previous band before going as his solo name. We'll talk about that as well. He might play a song for the program. We'll get into all that in just a little bit. I'm not wearing glasses, and that's because half an hour before the recording of this podcast, I did a Peloton, my daily Peloton. I did a light one, 15 minutes, because which I rarely do rides that short, but I'll get into the why behind that in just a moment. But after my Peloton, sometimes when I'm riding my Peloton, I don't like to wear my glasses because I sweat, and so I put them on the counter in the kitchen, and then get them afterwards and go take a shower and all that, right? I didn't grab my glasses afterwards, but someone did. And that someone is my puppy, Navy. She's still a puppy and she likes to chew on things. She's come a long way in terms of her training and, and house training as well. She doesn't have accidents inside anymore, but she likes to chew things. And there's not much left in my house to chew because she's chewed through most of it. So that's fun. That's fun. But the glasses part is a new adventure. So I put contacts in for, and I might be using contacts for a few days. I'm going to go and try and get some new glasses as soon as I can. I might have a backup pair somewhere, but I'd have to dig and find if that's actually a thing or not. I'm not sure at this point right now. So contacts it is. But back to why I did a smaller Peloton ride today than I usually do. Even though I do Peloton pretty much every day, right? Yesterday, I did the Wine Country Century with my buddy Joe. This is our second year doing it. Last year we did 100 miles and we geared up to the 100-mile distance very progressively over the 10 or 12 weeks leading up to the Wine Country Century, building upon our distance every time and hitting new heights. And it was really great. And I lived in Napa, right around the corner from my buddy Joe. And that made it really easy. And the Wine Country Century happened like right around the time I was moving. So I, had almost nothing in my house at that point. But I had the bike for the ride. So it was a lot of fun last year, and the weather was perfect last year. This year, there were more challenges. Gearing up to practicing for the Wine Country Century, which we signed up for to hold both of ourselves committed to. We didn't live in the same town anymore. I live 2 towns over in Vacaville, and so it's like 45 minutes away. Not as easy to just hop on the bikes and go. We had weather challenges as well. It rained a lot this winter and the season leading up to the ride, and among other life and family challenges that made it difficult for us to practice. So we only got like 4 practices in, I think, over the couple months leading up to the ride, and weren't ready to ride 100 miles. So Joe asked me if we could do the 100K ride instead, which is 63 miles. And I explained it to him like this. I said, yeah, sure, I'm totally on board to just do that instead. I would have done the 100. And if I pushed him, he probably would have done the 100, but not too excited about it. But a handful of years ago, I did a triathlon with Joe, a sprint triathlon, not a full triathlon or anything, but still a challenge just the same. And I did it with him and his buddy, one of his friends, and it was fun. It was a blast. And then the following year, I did the same exact triathlon by myself. I think it was 2 weeks earlier than the one the prior year. And swimming in the lake, that 2 weeks made a complete difference. It was cold. People were getting hypothermia. I was miserable biking afterwards, but I did it. I champed it out. No one was there to watch and support me. And I'm like, and in that moment, I remember thinking, I'm like, why did I do this? An accountability to myself, reason to never quit on myself. I don't know. But I realized then, I was like, I have nothing to prove. And I probably shouldn't have done this. I should have called it and not done it. There's, no one at the finish line for me. So but I did it. I finished it then, and this time I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do what's realistic for us now. So we did 63 miles, and we went in yesterday, knowing that it might rain. The rain was off and on in terms of predictability. So it had originally said it would be raining all weekend in Santa Rosa, and then it said there would be no rain. And then the day before, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's going to rain, but it'll rain up until 9 a.m. And so the ride starts. You know, they recommend you getting there between 7:30 and 9 a.m. for the 100K ride that we were doing, and so we got there a little bit just after 8, after we got all our stuff together and left Napa. And it was raining pretty hard as we were pulling up, and we're like, oh, this is going to be fun. And we pull up to the start, toward the starting point, right, and we see all these bikers and they have rain jackets on, and we were both like, oh, that would have been a good idea. Would have been a good idea to bring a rain jacket. Neither of us brought a rain jacket. We had jackets. I had a jacket that would act like a sponge if I wore it over my racing gear. So I was like, okay, nope, not wearing the jacket. That's not going to be fun. And I'm going to have to carry it around and just be miserable. No, going without the jacket, it's going to be a little cold. The rain cleared up by the time we got started with the ride. It cleared up a decent amount. We did get some sprinkles here and there, and we pushed through. We took the ride, and we did a good job overall. Really, we're proud of how we were doing. We skipped the first rest stop, which was at 11 miles, because we're like, we don't need a rest stop yet, whatever, just keep going. The next rest stop was at a total of 32 miles into the ride, which is like a halfway point. And so we pushed toward that 32 miles, got there. Joe was pretty hungry by that point and housed 2 turkey sandwiches, some cookies, grapes, banana. I had 1 turkey sandwich and some snacks also. And knew my limits, but he can house a lot of food, and he was really hungry, so he did it, and then he regretted it. Then he was like, oh, that was not a good choice. So we rode and we kept going, but we took it a little slow for the first couple miles afterwards. We kept going, and the ride at about 12 o'clock, the time we were about 12 o'clock, it started raining, and this lady was riding around us, and we were talking about the rain and how it only predicted rain until 9 a.m. 9 a.m. they said. Well, apparently there was more rain than past 9 a.m. And she was laughing, and because she knew everybody saw the weather report and knew that it was supposed to stop raining after 9 a.m. So she says, at least it's not hailing. And then like a minute or two later, it started hailing a little bit. So we braved it. We champed it out. We didn't stop. We went for it, right? What are you going to do? You roll with the punches. And there's this hill called Chalk Hill, which is like 800 feet of incline in, I don't know, 4/10 of a mile, maybe. Pretty short distance for a lot of incline. And toward the end of the ride, also, it's in the last like 8 miles or so that this hill occurs. And Joe knew it was coming, and he's like gearing up, and he's like, okay, it's going to come, and here it is. And it was a challenge. It was a challenge, he took it slow, and afterwards we talked about it, and he said, I just kept telling myself, I can stop right around the next corner. I can stop right around the next corner. And he never did. He never got off his bike. And I'm super proud of him for it, and myself personally, I'm more conditioned, because I do the Peloton every day. So it wasn't that challenging. Yeah, it was a challenge. It's not comfortable or easy, but I could have, done it no problem. Right. So that was all right. We had fun. I mean, really, we were on the bikes for 4 hours and 40 minutes, which really beats the Century ride last year, which was 6 hours and 45 minutes that we were on the bikes. And then we had, some chicken afterwards, and beers, and, food at the finish line, and headed home. And it was a great time. I mean, I really enjoy being able to do those sort of things and have those experiences with my friend. It was a good time. So enjoyed that. And today I'm about to head to his place in a little bit here to we're going to go out on his boat and test it and break in his new motor that he got to gear up to get out for some fishing trips coming up soon. So lots of fun ahead in my world. And Friday night, I took the kids to a different friend's house and for his 40th birthday, and we had a great time there. I brought the dog and didn't bring her bark collar. Didn't think that one through because she doesn't really bark much, but there were dogs on the other side of the fence that were taunting her. So we had to put her in the garage, and that really improved the situation. But pretty busy weekend all in, and really, really enjoyable. So no complaints. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get into the program. Again, I have Sid Simons here on the program, and let's bring Sid on in to have a little chat today. Business. Sid, how you doing? How's your morning treating you so far?
Beautiful. Yeah, it's a lovely morning out here in New York. Where are you? Are you in New York?
No, I'm on the West Coast out in California,
Oh,
Bay
okay.
Area. Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Amazing. How is it out there?
It's a little drizzly right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We had a weird winter where we actually got rain. It doesn't happen a lot here, and and then it stopped, and it actually acted like spring. But this past weekend, we got some rain again, and I did a 63-mile bike ride with a buddy,
Whoa.
and it was raining and during part of it, and that was enjoyable. So
Wow, that's amazing.
it was fun. We did it. We did 100 miles last year. It's a century ride, and this year we just didn't train enough for the 100. So we did 63, and we were happy and proud of that. So
That's insane. That's amazing. Wow. Oh my God,
yeah.
congrats.
Well, thank you.
I've
Thank you.
yeah, I need to do way more exercise, man. I've been I've just been going out and seeing too many, like, I'm just like going to I feel like I've just been going to shows every single night for the last like couple months, and I need to I miss mornings, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
love mornings, and like I just miss them. So that's
Yeah.
definitely something on my list. I'm like, I need to start exercising. I need to I need to go to bed earlier, and I need to stop drinking.
All things you need to do, honestly, like I'd always have a beer at night, or
Yeah.
and then just like, what, at one point a couple of friends stopped drinking during the week, and I was like, you know what, I should probably do that too. So I save it for weekends, and no, it's just even in small shifts make it a little bit better, right?
I know. Yeah, it's boring when you do it every night. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but you go to shows. Do you go to the same places? Do you just see a lot of bands you're friends with? What do you see?
Yeah, I just have all my friends are musicians,
Yeah.
so it's like and everyone has a show every night, and there's always something to do in New York City every night. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
especially when it starts getting warmer. So yeah, I'm seeing like friends bands all the time, but they're always so good. It's not like all my friends are like my favorite musicians right now. So it's like it's a great time. It's beautiful music every night. So I'm not complaining at all.
And it's good to have live shows back, right? I mean, to be
Oh,
able
it's so good.
to do that again. Like, I mean, it was crazy just having a couple of years where it just was like non-existent, wasn't it? Especially as a
Amazing.
musician.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Those live streams were getting a little tiring. Doing those every other day, But yeah, no, totally.
You were doing a lot of those though, right? You were doing the live streams because it's like a way to,
Yeah,
make music at least somehow, right?
100%. Yeah, we were doing them all the time. Yeah, yeah, it was cool. I mean, I think when it was well done, it was cool. But like, there was a few that were just if you didn't get the audio right, it could sound like absolute shit, because who knows what they're listening to it on, you know what I mean?
Right.
But so there was a few that we did where we were like, wow, that sounded great, guys, and then we listened back, like, oh my God, it sounds like a potato, But no, we did a couple that were great, so that was fun. That was a fun experience.
Yeah, and you did. I think you did probably some of the ones where you kind of get to the point where you do them in a venue,
Yeah.
but there's no one there, right? You're just streaming in an empty. You're like, yeah, you're missing the crowd effect, right?
you'd end a song and it'd just be like, there'd be one guy behind the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sick, you
I
know?
know. You're like,
I mean, all right, let's vote. Good.
not to
Yeah,
say,
it's
not
funny.
to say.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, let's start kind of, I guess, toward the beginning. Like, what music did your parents listen to? Like, as you were growing up, what did you get into? Like, from your parents, what were they playing in the household? Um,
A lot, I would say a lot of Beatles. Grew up on the
yeah.
Beatles. Like my dad, he tells me this too. He made me like a little back on those iPods and stuff, and he would put a bunch of music on, and then he'd give it to me, and I'd listen to it when I was like a little kid. And he said that like he would take the iPod away at the end of the night and be like, and look through like what I've been listening to, and it was always the Beatles. Like that's all I'd listen to. It was like Beatles and like Green Day or something, you know.
Those are the two. Dookie
Interesting
and
combination. Yeah,
yeah.
Doogie and Sergeant Pepper.
Right. Yeah.
um, I grew up in a very musical household. My mom's really into like, they were both in bands when they were younger. They were both like singers. Like as fun, you know, it was for fun. They did it for
Yeah.
fun. But yeah, they both have like an amazing ear for music. Like, yeah, my dad got me into so much stuff. He opened up so many doors for me, which is great. But yeah, yeah, my dad actually was the singer of like a punk band in New Zealand. He was like one of like the first like punk bands.
Yeah.
And like so they had like a little bit of a buzz. Like if you I don't know. I think if you went to New Zealand and you brought their name up, some people would know, you know.
They know even still today.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you're into music, if you're into like punk music, you definitely know who they are. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It's cool.
Did they play instruments too, your mom and dad? Or
No,
just
they didn't. No, yeah. So I kind of found that out on my own. Yeah.
Was guitar the first instrument that you picked up?
Yeah, it was. I mean, the thing is, my parents were always like, you gotta play guitar. You know, they were saying that my whole life, and then and I was like, oh man, like that's like I'm not gonna do what you guys say. I mean, you know, that rebellious kind of thing. And then like as soon as they were like, all right, you know what, we're giving up. Like he's not gonna do this. And then I turned like 16, and I was like, I'm gonna play guitar now. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started playing guitar. We moved. My dad got a job in China when I was 16,
Shanghai.
and so like the whole family, in Shanghai, and so like my whole family, just we moved there for, we moved there, and like I didn't really have any friends like the first couple months, you know, living in Shanghai. So I had a little like guitar that my cousin gave me, and I just played that like every single day.
Yeah.
For like
Was
8
that super
hours a day.
jarring for you? I mean, to move a kid in high school is a big shift, and even to move a different town, but to move, you know, like across the world in a sense, right? Like, I mean, what was that like for you? I mean, other the challenges making friends, which I can relate with, by the way. I moved a lot as a kid, and it wasn't easy. So yeah, all over. I mean, I didn't go to one school for more than 2 years until high school. So yeah, and
country, or was it?
No, just all over California, different places. Divorced family, you know, wasn't a military or anything like that. It was divorced. My parents were divorced, and back and forth between them and other shit, you know. So it was just all over the place, and didn't have a normal, typical childhood. And I wasn't one of those kids that was comfortable, you know, making friends or just hopping in or anything like that. So, you know, I mean, when I finally got to stay in one place, like growing up mostly in Napa, you know, like I was able to finally start making friends and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it was not a comfortable situation. But I asked you a question first, and then made it about me. So, you know.
No. It's interesting to hear another perspective, you know, because I feel like you don't always run into other people that have had that similar experience, you know. But it's funny that you said the military, because like that I've moved on a bunch as well, and like that is the first thing everyone asks. They're like, "Oh, is your dad in the military?" You know?
I know.
Like,
I got it too. I'm like, no, it wasn't that. It just dysfunctional family relationship and acting out, you know, to try and get attention, you know. So
Were you kicked out of schools at all?
No, I was never
It was,
that,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
you know, I was sent out of state though to try and fix my, behavioral problems and just like my getting along with my siblings and stuff. And it's just,
Right, right.
it's like, hey, we can fix this, challenge making friends by sending him, out of state. And it's just like, no, maybe if you just keep me in one spot, that
Yeah,
might have helped. But
yeah, yeah.
like maybe give me a chance to make friends. Yeah. But that I didn't have that, you know.
Sure. That's tough, man. I mean, definitely. I think it was a bigger change for me moving from Australia to New York when I was 12. That was like a way bigger culture shock for me, I think, because I had been living in Australia for like 10 years at that time, and like I was so comfortable and like in my world, like, and and just knew how to maneuver in that world, and like just being told that you're going to move to like the other side of like the world, sorry.
Yeah.
um it just like definitely shook me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
um so that was the biggest adjustment, I think. Like, yeah, a couple of years later when my dad was like, we're moving to Shanghai, I was like, it was definitely still a shock, but I was like kind of a little more ready for it,
Yeah.
because of the previous move. But like, yeah, I totally relate to what you're saying, man. Like, it's weird, like picking up friends and having like friends for like a year, a couple years, and then like all of a sudden it's like, all right, see you, and probably maybe never see you again. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's weird, man. I actually just recently wrote a song kind of similar to that. It's called Strangers. But anyway, yeah, yeah. It's a crazy life we've lived, man.
Yeah. Do you have friends that you've had now for a long time? Like, I mean, just like stable, constant friends. I mean, we talked about all your friends are musicians and everything, but like since all of that with my childhood, like, I mean, my best friend I've been friends with for half my life now, So, and I have a couple
Right.
other friends that have been friends for, a good long chunk of it as well,
Hmm.
But so do you find that same sort of ability with the people you're around?
Yeah, definitely. I have a couple really really good friends that I've known since I was like 12. Um, that we still hang out all the time. Um, yeah, but like all my friends in Shanghai live in different countries, so it's like
Yeah.
I can't really keep up. Like, no one's in New York from Shanghai. All my friends,
Right.
but it's also kind of nice. Like when I like if I ever want to travel somewhere, like I've got some friends around there.
Got a place to crash. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If I went to Sweden right now, I'd hit up my friend. But
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, it's there's there's pros and cons to like that whole situation of moving around so much.
Yeah. And in terms of kind of bringing that into your band dynamic, like with either your solo band or with Girlskin, like what
Yeah,
how do you select who's going to be in your band? And do you choose friends or did you choose people from outside it? Your brother was in your band, um,
yeah.
right? But he's not in your current band.
Well, okay, so Girlskin was like that was my band for a while, and that was the name I was going under. And then recently, like 6 months ago, I think now,
Yeah.
maybe even a little less, I just changed it to my name. So I like made a
Okay.
whole like switch. So yeah, it's just my name now. Um, just because I mean, like we were all, yeah, my brother was in the band. We were all kind of like in the position of kind of like ready to kind of do something new. Like kind of, it was feeling a little stale, and like everyone had their own thing going. My brother, he's an actor as well, so
Yeah.
like he was doing a ton of acting. Um, he was just in this movie. So like he would go off for a couple months and stuff. So I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna just like, and it was kind of like the Girlskin thing was kind of a moniker anyway. I'd recorded everything and wrote everything myself, so I was like, I'm just gonna go under my name, and like everyone was super down. Everyone in the band was like, that's a great idea. So I was like, all right, okay, let's do it. So it was almost like the most uncomfortable thing I could have done, but like probably the best thing for the situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
But
yeah.
yeah, right now my lineup is like a little different. So uh yeah, like I have the same drummer that I've played with for like 5 years. My roommate is my guitarist, and got a saxophone player now that I met. Um, and my bass player from another band I was in for like 4 years called Beechwood.
Beechwood, yeah.
He's he's yeah, he's playing in my band. And I've like, we've known each other forever.
And you toured
Um,
Europe
yeah,
with Beechwood and everything, right? So
yeah.
yeah.
That was like my main thing for a while. Like that band, like I played in that band for like 5 years. Um, we toured Europe like 4 times, America like 7 times. Like we it was like it was like a working band, you know.
Yeah.
um, but that ended. Yeah, that kind of like fizzled out last year. So
Yeah.
so I'm
Yeah.
like just doing my own thing for once. Usually it's like I
Is
have a
this it?
couple things, a couple projects and stuff, and now it's just like I'm just I'm a solo boy
Is,
now.
is it all in our music, or I mean, I know your family is all in the entertainment world and has done,
Hmm.
I mean, like you said, your brother's done acting, your mom's produced, your dad's
Yeah,
directed. Like, but you and your brother
correct.
are also
Yeah,
also models. Do you still do that, or?
not so much. I mean, here and there, you know. But we're kind of like, yeah, we were with like a modeling agency for a little bit. But we're just kind of like getting a little tired of it for
Yeah. Yeah.
and we were just kind of like, we need to like focus on what we want to do, which is like acting and playing music. So but I still do it, it's here and there,
What
so
sort of work do you do with modeling? Like, what does that look like for
um like editorials or something like that. I mean, I've done stuff for like Celine. Um so I think that was the last big job I did. um Bigger job, yeah. I like Hedy Slimane, that designer for Celine. He like flew me out to Paris, um, for some Celine thing. Yeah, I don't know. It was cool. That was really cool. Meeting him was awesome because I've been a fan of him for a while. So that was a great experience. But yeah, I haven't done much in a while, to be honest with you, like modeling
you?
work wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but your family still does the movies and everything. Like they work on that stuff.
My dad, he was a creative director for an advertising agency.
Mhm.
And my mom was a producer, but they both moved like upstate New York. Like they're in like the mountains now, and they kind of just they do little things here and there. Like they'll like, well, first of all, they're working on the house, so they're building, like they have like little spots like Airbnbs and stuff. But yeah, they just do little films for people here and there. Yeah, it's cool. They have a cool setup.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Did
not
your
doing like movies or anything. But yeah.
No. But your mom produced Hugh Jackman's first movie. Did you meet
Yeah,
her
yeah.
through that process at all, or yeah, yeah,
There is a photo, I think, somewhere where he's holding me as a baby.
really?
Yeah. My mom is like next. The photo of like it's him holding me, and then my mom like next to him. And
Yeah,
I remember I showed this to my friend once, and then my friend was like, "Any chance you're like half Wolverine?" I was like,
yeah, yeah. Well,
like
where's my dad? Yeah,
I don't,
no.
yeah. Like I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, I did that
Yeah,
sort of
that's
thing with
cool.
my daughter when she was tiny too. She's turning 13 next month, and like, but I have a picture. There's a picture around somewhere of me and Sammy Hagar and her, and I'm holding her, and her dress is like lifting up, and you can see her underwear. And Sammy has this goofy look on his face. It's like not a great picture, but it's like I was like bringing her into my world a little bit, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
uh, yeah, so that that sort of thing happens, but.
That's hilarious. I love that.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
cool.
so let's talk about kind of the new album a little bit, right? So
Yeah,
Shade is on the Other Side is the name of the album. It comes out in June 23rd, right? Or no, Shade, that was the first album. Beneath the
that's
Brightest
the first
Smiles,
one.
excuse me, is
Yes.
the new album.
Yep.
June 23rd. Wendy is the first song on the album, and I love this story kind of behind the album. So why don't you share? It's not about a woman per se, but why don't you share kind of where this song
Yeah.
came from, and kind of how you got to the spot to create Wendy.
Yeah. I mean, I usually like never explain songs, and I just let people, interpret how they want to
Yeah.
interpret the song. But like this song, I was kind of like, I kind of need to explain it. You know what I mean? Like otherwise, everyone's gonna think it's about just some girl or something. But it really is. I was on this road trip, and well, right before I was gonna go on this road trip, uh, my like relative was like, here, you need this GPS. Like this was a couple years ago, and they were like, take this GPS. Like it's gonna be your phone is gonna be unreliable in like situations. So like take this thing, you're gonna use it. And I was like, me and my friend were like, all right, let's do it. And then like basically like we loaded in, there was options like what name to choose, you know what I mean? Because it was like Gareth, and then there was like Wendy, and we're like, all right, let's choose Wendy. And then basically we'd pull her up, we'd be on the highway, and she'd just be like, take a right now. And we're like, okay. And like off the middle of the highway, or like, you know what I mean? Or just we'd be driving next to a lake or something, and she'd be like, drive into the lake. It was just like she was all over the place, so dysfunctional. The whole trip we'd just be like, man, Wendy has got something on her mind. So I was like, this is a song right here, Wendy Wendy needs a song.
Yeah.
So
You
yeah,
didn't follow her
that was
instructions. You didn't follow her off the cliff or anything, right? So
man, we should have. Yeah, I still I don't know where. I don't know what happened to the GPS. It's somewhere. It's like buried in my house somewhere.
Wendy's
The
around here
GPS.
somewhere. It reminds me of that. I don't know if you ever saw it. There's an episode of The Office where Michael Scott and Dwight are like they have a rental car going off on some delivery or something, and they're following the GPS. And Michael's like literally following the GPS and drives them into a creek, sort of thing. It's pretty hilarious.
That's amazing. Why it's so funny. The Office relate everything to The Office. Like I was talking to my friend about this. Like anyone, like any scene that happens ever, like any funny, you can just relate it to The Office. Like it's such a good show. My God, man.
It's one of those timeless shows. It's great.
I know. I watched the English version first, and I was like, this is amazing. And then I like watched like everyone was like, dude, you gotta watch like the US version. I was like, no, man. Like it's the English version. It's the subtlety. There's like it's the darker humor, whatever. And then I started watching the US version. I was like, this is just so good. Like, come on, undeniably amazing.
It's great. It's great. And I watched a couple episodes of the English one, but I didn't, watch a ton of it.
Yeah.
But I watched a lot of the American one. I know that Steve Carell didn't watch the English one at all. I mean, I think he watched like a couple minutes to get a sense, but he didn't want to like steal the character or anything, or kind of rely on that. He wanted it to be his own thing, So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're definitely different kind of roles. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. I'm glad I watched the English version first, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it's a good sound.
Going the other way, it probably wouldn't have worked.
Not as much. What else do you like watching? What do you enjoy? Is there things you're binging?
Okay, the last thing I watched was Beau is Afraid. Have you seen
I don't know
that?
if I've heard that. No.
Oh my God, dude, you have to watch this. It's literally the most insane film I've ever seen in my life. Like I saw this in the cinemas like a couple days ago. And I regrettably
I heard about that. Okay, that's the Joaquin Phoenix movie. Okay, I did hear about that. I watched the trailer. So okay.
I don't know how to explain it. Like it's like one of those things where it's like I came out just like I don't even know if I like that, but I don't even know if I hate it. Like it was like I'm still like recovering from it. It's one of those movies, It's just so intense. It just feels like you're an anxiety attack the entire time, but in kind of a good way. I don't know. You gotta watch it. I don't know how to like interpret it, but I regrettably like smoked a joint before watching it. I don't even smoke like weed, honestly, that much. Like I really don't even like smoking weed, but me and my friend smoked a joint and then we watched it and I was like, oh my God, that was probably the worst thing. Yeah. Go watch it.
It's like 3 hours long, right? Yeah.
3-hour movie. Like it's the same director that did Hereditary, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
What have
I'll
you been
check it out.
watching?
I might have to watch it in a couple of sittings because like I don't go
Yeah.
near any Avatar or Lord of the Rings in 3 hours. 80, I can't just sit there for 3 hours and watch something.
No, no, no.
80,
Honestly, like I would not be able to watch this movie at home.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you gotta
Okay,
go. You
okay.
gotta
You got to
actually
commit.
go there.
You have to
You gotta
commit. Okay.
commit. You really do have to commit because, like, if I watch this at home, I'd probably turn it off and just be like, I
Yeah.
might never go back to this.
Never go back. Okay. I'll take that recommendation.
Yeah.
What have I been watching? Ted Lasso. I keep keeping up on that. The shows that are finishing out.
Right.
Some of those. I watched Succession, but I'm not
Mm.
in love with it. I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
People are
Yeah.
crazy about it, but I'm like, yeah,
Right.
so I think those are a couple of things I'm watching right now. It's probably
Hmm.
the most, routine ones that are going on right now. But
Yeah. 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 Man, I haven't watched a TV show in so long, but
yeah.
it's been a little too busy lately. But yeah. Yeah. I actually no wait. I started watching Beef.
Beef. Okay, I heard about that too. And that's good. You like it?
It's pretty good so far. It's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. I've only seen like one episode, but yeah. 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 Not bad.
You started. You'll go back.
Yeah. Exactly.
uh, okay, so tell me a little bit more about the album. You work with I'm trying to find. Sorry, I'm trying to find the name.
Gordon Raphael.
Gordon Raphael, yeah.
Yeah.
On that. So tell me about Gordon working with him. And this was your first time like working with someone else on an album because your other album you just recorded yourself in your bedroom, right?
Hmm. Yeah. So I kind of wanted to do the exact opposite process from that first album. Um, Mainly because like I kind of feel like I went a little crazy just recording
Yeah.
that whole album in my room, um, alone. But yeah, I was like, I'm gonna write down all the producers that I would want to work with. Um, and he was one of them. He was like in the top 10. And I don't know, I've been a big fan of like I've known of him for a while and like I love his records. His first two Strokes albums, the Regina Spektor stuff, like the Libertine stuff, and like he's really good at capturing like a live sound, like a lot like a band playing. It's not easy to just capture like 4 or 5 musicians in the room and like exactly what they sound like is going to come out of the speakers. Like that's hard to do, and he's really good at that. And so I wanted that. We didn't exactly go with that approach on every song, but no, it was great, man. He was just like he was basically like the dad in the room. Like he was like this
Yeah.
father figure. Like we would be like fucking around. Like we'd have like 10, like we had 7 days in the studio. We'd have 7 days in the studio and we had like 14. I had 14 songs. And so it was like, we need to get on a schedule. He was our guy that like, you know. So we would start with a song and then like usually when we record, we kind of mess around a little bit, trying things out. Like we'll go off, maybe get distracted. I get distracted so easily. We'll start getting in a little fight. Me and my brother will get in a fight or something. Something will happen. And he'd just be like, guys, cut it out, cut your shit. Let's go, get back in the song. Or like this is not working. Next song.
Yeah.
And we'd all be like, okay, yes, dad. You know what I mean? And like, it was so important to have that figure in the room. Like,
Yeah.
so because if he wasn't there, we'd probably like still be recording the album. I swear to God, we you know what I mean?
He kept you.
Like
He kept
it
you
was
on track.
very.
Yeah.
Oh, he totally kept us on track. We recorded, I think, about the songs with him, and I ended up cutting a bunch because I was just like, I it could have been like an 11 or 12 song album, but I was like, I want to choose the ones that feel right in this sequence.
Was it
Um,
difficult to cut? Like, were there areas where he was like, okay, this isn't going to fit, and but you pressed, you wanted to push forward with it at all, or did you just find a good balance of that?
um, no, it was pretty obvious to me, like right after the studio sessions, that I was like, we're gonna keep these ones, you know.
Yeah.
But like a lot of it, I did a lot of recording like separately after the studio, after those sessions with Gordon Raphael. Like I took them into my like room and like did a ton of overdubs, you know, and like
Yeah.
reworked some stuff. So it was like it wasn't all in the studio. Like I got like a string quartet to play, and I got some backup singers and redid guitars and stuff like that. So there was a lot of overdubs that I did. And it took me like fucking months to do that stuff. But um yeah, it was honest. It was amazing working with him though. It was awesome.
Yeah. And so bringing a string quartet in, when it's one thing to record it, in studio, and then you have it and you have all these components that go into making this, what you want it to be. How do you envision kind of bringing that live when you take that to the live show, the songs to the live show?
Yeah, I mean, basically, well, with the string quartet, those parts you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean, basically, my saxophone player right now is kind of taking those parts and kind of filling them in with her sax lines in a way, you know? So it's
Yeah.
kind of like she's playing those parts in a way. Obviously, it's like that's a string quartet is a way bigger sound, but like, yeah, I don't. When we play live, I never want to like replicate the record. You know,
Yeah.
I want to do it how it feels, how we feel in a moment. But yeah, it still feels as big. I think, you know, when we play live.
Yeah. You played South by Southwest last year, right? Or in March.
Hmm.
It was in March. It was in March of
This
this
year,
year.
yeah.
Yeah, just a couple months ago. How did that go? Tell me about that. You did a handful of shows.
Yeah, we were. I mean, I think we were a bit apprehensive about going, um, but like once we got there, it was so fun. We met so many fucking people, and we played. I think we played like 7 shows or something. Played 3 in one day. Um, it was cool. It was amazing. Yeah, I mean, we played. Yeah, we played one show like 5 p.m., then one at 11 p.m., and then one at 1 a.m. Like we were all
Wow.
just like so exhausted by the end. We were so like we were dead by the end of that trip, but it was so fun. We met. It was a great time. We had a great time. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
lost a ton
cool.
of money, but you know.
Look, you can't get caught up on that, right? It's about the experience and getting out there.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
that's exactly
Yeah.
it. We were like, you know what, we're doing this because it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you lining up a tour for the summer? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, we're working on like a little East Coast tour. Um, and we were talking about doing one in actually on the West Coast in August. Not totally sure if it's gonna line up. I might even be going out there to do some kind of solo stuff. Um, so yeah, but we have a bunch of shows in New York coming up. Yeah, we're trying to play a bunch. We're trying to play a bunch this summer for sure.
Yeah. You say West Coast, you think you'll hit the Bay Area, or is it Southern
I
California?
think yeah, yeah, no, I'm thinking like we're thinking about starting in Portland maybe and then going
Mm,
down to LA.
yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
see. But like it might clash with this one thing that we're trying to do here, which is like I'm trying to set up like a Elliott Smith tribute show, which and have like a backing band and then have a bunch of like local acts, like, you know, kind of buzzing bands around here, like the singers or like whatever, come and sing a song or two. Because it's his birthday in August, so
Oh.
um yeah, I think that would be cool. I haven't even like announced that to anyone yet, so but it's gonna
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Those shows are really cool. I mean, my favorite concert ever was a Bowie celebration. I think it was like 6 months after he passed,
Really?
and it was led by Gary Oldman.
Oh
And
wow, yeah.
yeah, and so I got to go to that. I interviewed Gary Oldman, and a bunch of the other artists that were performing. Some people from Bowie's bands over the years and stuff. And
Super cool.
it was awesome. It was like 3.5 hours of Bowie, just like 70 musicians across the
That's
night.
amazing.
It was so cool. So those shows can be
That's
a lot of fun, right?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, me and my friend, he was like trying to set it up. We were actually thinking about that. Like, who do we know anyone that was like, or like, do we have any mutual friends that was like someone in Elliott Smith's band or something like that? You know, like it'd be cool to tie it in.
Yeah, just go
But
knock on doors, right? Like
yeah, yeah, we'll see.
yeah, see what happens. And so around the release of the album, like what does that look like for you as we get into June? I mean, are things going to heat up for you with like, you know, press opportunities, or what are you? I mean, you're going to play some local gigs or around releasing the album.
Yeah, we have an album release show. It's looking like July 2nd. We locked it in just now, actually. July 2nd at Baby's All Right. It's in Brooklyn. And that's it's gonna be like I'm gonna have a big band for that show. So it's gonna be a string quartet. Um, my 5-piece band, backup singers, some like, percussion player, like, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be like
Yeah,
it's kind of like the band that I've it's gonna be like a little something I've always wanted to do. You know what I mean? So it's gonna
yeah,
be a special one. So yeah, July 2nd at Baby's All Right.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
And you've
yeah.
played, having played all over the world. What's like a special memory you have of a performance that you had, or even a show that you went to?
Oh man, that's a good one. Okay, I want to say the first thing that comes to my mind is probably the first show I ever saw, and it was the Wiggles. All right, it
Okay,
was
okay.
incredible. Dude. I was 3 years old.
Uh-huh.
Blew my mind. Okay,
Did they have
absolutely
any
blew my
guest
mind.
musicians? Like I've heard they like bring out like actual full bands. Like I've heard
Yeah,
like
I
Taking Back Sunday and Motion City Soundtrack and stuff like I've done.
no idea, but I did not care. And I was like
Yeah,
all about like just seeing Jeff. Like singing Hot Potato. Like that's all I cared about at the time.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was cool.
That is
Well,
really cool. I
playing a
don't.
show. All right, the coolest show. I remember playing this show in the south of France with Beechwood, and it was like a festival. It was like the first festival I'd ever even like been to, and we played this festival. It was like right before the pandemic on the beach, and we had like the second headlining spot. So we played at like 10 p.m. and like there was like I think there was like 20,000 people or something.
What?
It was
Wow.
like the big. I like it was I like the most people I've ever played in front of was like 1,000 people at that time or something, and then it was just like the 20,000. I was like walking out was the craziest feeling. It was just like a sea of fucking people, but um, that was a crazy. That was fun.
Do
That
you
was
get
fun.
nervous in that moment, or you just like put that aside and you're just
So
yeah.
so nervous right before going on. Like I was like so nervous, you know what I mean? And then as soon as we
Yeah.
walked on stage, like you know, you've done it so many times, like it feels natural to perform, so to play. But right before going on, like the 20 minutes, I was like, holy shit, how are we gonna do this? Like
Psyching yourself out. Yeah.
yeah, like, but it was fun. That was a crazy experience. Yeah.
Yeah. And are
Hopefully
your
I can do that with
parents
my own band.
yeah. Are your parents still supportive of your music? What does their support look like? I mean, of your musical ventures?
Oh, they're super supportive. Yeah, yeah. I'm blessed. I really feel like lucky to have really supportive parents, who are yeah, they've always supported me. So they've never been they haven't been the parents that are like, you need to go get a real job, They don't like that. So
Yeah.
they get it because they're also like creatives.
Yeah.
Um yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's cool. I'm
Yeah.
blessed for sure.
I like it. Well, to wind us out, my understanding is you're down to play a song for the podcast.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
New or old? What do you want to hear?
I mean, I think we should play something off the new album, probably, right?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I am sitting in front of my piano right now, by
Oh, nice. Okay. Oh, okay. You got that ready. So,
the way. play. Okay, I'll play. I'm gonna play the song called. It's called the Stanley Song. It's about my brother basically. It's just like it's kind of it's kind of like a rival, or not like a rival. It's like the brother and it's like a sibling relationship where you're kind of like like no one's allowed to hurt you except for me. You know what I mean? Like no
Yeah,
one's like
protective.
no
Yeah.
one, yeah. Like I'm allowed to fuck with you as much as I want, but if I see someone else doing that, man, like that's not cool. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, yeah. Should I play it?
Go for it.
Okay, cool.
Lego was mine till you came along. How did mom and dad get it so wrong? No one's gonna hurt you, Stanley. No one's gonna hurt you, Stanley, except for me. Well, I'm the only one that has that key. So I broke your thumb. Who cares? It's not like I pushed you down the stairs. No one's gonna hurt you, Stanley. No one's gonna hurt you, Stanley, except for me. Well, I'm the only one that has the key.
You know, you have the same name as
Steve Jones of the Sex Pistols. You're the first to
Yeah,
say that. So
how many people would fucking say that to you? So many people.
a couple. I think the first time the first time I remember getting it, I've been interviewing bands since probably you were in diapers, but like I was just could have done forever. But Juliet Lewis was one of the first ones that I remember being like Steve Jones and Sex Pistols, and
Really?
I remember I tried to get an interview with Steve Jones when the Sex Pistols were probably on their last tour. I thought that would have been cool, but didn't get a reply. So
Damn. That was hilarious. You say Juliette Lewis?
yeah, the actress.
Yeah.
She has a band.
Yeah, like
I used to know.
My good friend's band just like filmed a music video with her like literally like a week ago.
Oh really? Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
seen she was going to play another show and everything, but because she used to have Juliet in the Licks, and I used to know her through her band, and we were pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, she stopped doing music, so I haven't kept up with her in a decade or something. But I've
Right.
shot video for her at shows and stuff, and she's really cool, down to earth. She puts on a hell of a performance. Like also, that creative energy just comes out in her live performance.
Right. Yeah, she seems super cool.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think we're good. So yeah, Sid, thank you for taking the time today, and
Yeah.
Yeah, you shoot over the video, and then I'll probably get this out later today.
Beautiful.
Yeah, when we get it all together, so should be good. And
Nice, dude.
I'll shoot you the links, and I'll shoot the links over to Publicist as well. So
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll send you the video over text, but if it comes out really bad quality, I can always email it. We'll figure it out.
yeah, it's cool. Yeah, a lot of these don't have video, but performances along with it. But but when it makes sense and we can get it and it's good, I like to do it because it gives that live component. I used to always do it at concerts, and then concerts stopped happening, and and this was another way. And so now I find myself not going to as many concerts, which is a little bit of a bummer, but because just because this is so much easier, and I can talk to bands anywhere all throughout the world,
Totally.
And not be stuck in between sound check and eating while the band's thinking of food.
Yeah.
Squeeze in 20 minutes, and we could just talk as long as it makes sense, right? And it works, right? So
I love that.
But congratulations on the new album, and I hope it goes really well with the release and playing shows, and hopefully you get out to the West Coast too. So
thanks, dude. Yeah, hopefully we can catch up or something if I end up out there.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out. So
cool.
All right, you have a good rest of your day. Okay, Sid?
Yeah, man, you too.
That was my interview with Sid Simons here on Concert Pipeline, and that takes us to the final segment on the program, the music news. A couple stories to wind out the program today. First up is Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan. So want to talk to folks about Smashing Pumpkins. They recorded a Christmas album during COVID, apparently. What do you do when you're stuck inside and can't do anything? You record a Christmas album, and that's interesting. I'm interested to hear what that will sound like. But speaking to Sirius FM, returning drummer Jimmy Chamberlain said that he'd worked alongside Billy Corgan throughout the pandemic. I have a studio at my house. Billy has a studio at his house. We live 20 minutes away. We're not neighbors, but we're really close to each other. We can get to each other's houses very quickly. Exciting. The pair ended up recording close to 80 songs over the pandemic. Wow. Okay. So they got a lot of stuff in the pipes, and who knows how much of that will make it to the light of day, right? As well as 2020's CYR, and the recently released Atum, ATUM. The pair got around to recording a psychedelic record that we had on a back burner that we never got to, alongside a Christmas record. He went on to call the experience great because you don't get those big blocks of time anymore. You're always either on tour, you're doing stuff like promo, you're being pulled in a million different directions. And we figured out that COVID could be the only point in time where we had a year or even 2 years to just simply create music without any logistic constraints on the process. And also earlier this week, Billy Corgan revealed that he'd paid a hacker to stop them releasing new Smashing Pumpkins music, with the FBI even getting involved. So they had other stuff from other artists as well. They had stuff that was shocking to me, classic stuff from bands from the past, probably doing reissues. I don't think any of this stuff has been leaked out. So whatever happens, it all got shut down. So he paid this person off to do that. That's really surprising. Because once it's out, how do you stop it from happening? It's going to get out some way or another, right? There's no date for the Christmas album or the psychedelic one. He's already working on the band's 13 album now, so they're following up on that. And one other note on Billy Corgan, because this is an actual article that came up also. Billy Corgan on why he asked people to call him William. That's an interesting one. I kind of blame Puff Daddy. I thought it was kind of funny how he kept changing his name. He was talking on in an interview earlier this month when the topic arose, and he explained why he released his 2017 solo record under his given name William Patrick Corgan. He said he explained it in terms of wrestling, as he's a fan of pro wrestling and the owner of National Wrestling Alliance. He said, the way I see it in my brain is Billy is like my stage name at this point. It's how everybody knows me. And for anybody who knows wrestling, we mostly in wrestling call people by their stage names. It's your name. Billy and William are the same thing. My kids have a half brother. They just call him their brother. I mean, he's their mother's child, and they live half with him. That kid's name is Billy, but it's also William. Some people call him William. Some people call him Billy. Crazy, right? What is the deal? Why is that a news story? Who fucking cares? I wanted to read it because it tied in, and I just needed to get that off my chest. So thank you for indulging me through that. Okay. Ted Nugent's Alabama show was canceled over his political views. Fans have criticized the booking at Birmingham's Avondale Brewing Company, with one saying, lose the show or lose my business. So is this his farewell tour also? So even on his farewell tour, people are telling Ted Nugent, we've had enough. I think we're good, right? Let's cut at least one show out, maybe more. He's a high-profile supporter of Donald Trump. He was due to play the Avondale Brewing Company in Birmingham, Alabama, July 18th, as part of his Adios Movo tour. So this is well in advance of this show. They're just like, you can actually cut that date. So let's do a little bit less. So after the announcement, the venue's post about the gig was flooded with thousands of comments protesting the show and asking the venue to reconsider as AL report. So I will never spend another dollar in your establishment, one commenter wrote. Grotesque that you would book such trash. Do better. Another simply said, lose the show or lose my business. In response, the venue canceled the show and wrote, we have heard the concerns of the Avondale community, which is so important to us, and in conjunction with our partners, have taken the necessary steps to cancel the Ted Nugent concert scheduled for July 18th. That's Ted. And you know what? I'll just say I don't agree with, a lot of his political views that he shares and is so outspoken on. I don't agree with him. I interviewed Ted Nugent a number of years ago, 20 years, let's call it. I sat with him for half an hour on his bus and we had a great conversation. His brain works in a way that nobody else's, and he's got quite an interesting way with words. And I have memories of that evening that were really enjoyable. I mean, I'll just say it. Toward the end of my interview, back then, I used to I don't know why, because I was such a scrawny little twerp, but I used to kind of poke the bear a little bit sometimes when I probably shouldn't. And I asked him, what he thought about bands like Goldfinger who have songs like Fuck Ted Nugent. And he either wasn't aware of Goldfinger and that they had that song, or played it off like he wasn't. He said it was cute, because they never will, in theory. Fuck Ted Nugent. So that was interesting. That's pretty much where I stand with Ted Nugent. I don't have, I think he's a great guitar player. I really enjoyed seeing him, play the guitar. He can wail on that thing. And he's, been a notable musician for a long time, but, he can keep his political opinions probably to himself. It's probably better at that point. And this article goes on to say about how he was like trashing Bruce Springsteen and stuff. And it's like, come on, Bruce Springsteen's a legend. Speaking of Bruce Springsteen went to an Irish pub and sang along with Hunters. He said, I'm firing the E Street Band and hiring you, he joked. He's performing in Dublin this week, and ahead of his trio of performances, the boss enjoyed some Irish hospitality at the Borough Pub in Rathingan, the town he traces his ancestral roots to, where he even led an impromptu sing-along to his 1984 song, My Hometown. Nice, fitting, I like it. The low-key visit was reportedly secret, and local organizers were only notified of the itinerary Wednesday evening, according to RTE. The pub was opened early for the occasion before local residents show Springsteen where his ancestors could have come from in the Mount Prospect area outside the village. The musician also visited a library where historians presented him with research about his family roots. And this came after he made a surprise visit to former Pogues man Shane MacGowan, and they were apparently hanging out together. So pretty cool. Good Bruce Springsteen story. All right, a couple more stories before we wind out the program. Blink-182 is kicking off a reunion headline tour, and they aired Matt Skiba era songs. This is a question, right? So Blink-182 had Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio replace Tom DeLonge after Tom DeLonge, left the band, did his own thing, chased UFOs, whatever it was he was doing, and they created music together during those handful of years where Matt was in the band. Tom DeLonge is back now, and they're selling tickets at a crazier rate. Printing money pretty much, right? Selling tickets with Tom DeLonge back in the band. I guess in the Coachella shows that they did over the past couple of weekends, they didn't play any of the Matt Skiba songs. They kind of stayed away from that since they only had an hour-long set. But when they're headlining their own show, things are obviously going to be a little bit different. And they made some good music during that time frame under the name Blink-182. So would Tom play it? And they played a career-spanning set that included Matt Skiba songs. They reunited at the Excel Energy Center with their classic lineup: Tom DeLonge, Mark Hoppus, Travis Barker, of course, for the opening night of their world tour, which featured a 25-song set. The pop-punk icons were initially scheduled to debut their reunited lineup in March, but were forced to postpone after Barker suffered repeated injuries on his finger, and then they did the Coachella shows. So they played, of course, all the small things, What's My Age Again, and also revived fan favorites like Up All Night for the first time since 2016, and Ghost on the Dance Floor for the first time since 2014. It also featured two of the Matt songs, Cynical and Bored to Death, from their 2016 album, California. And so Matt had said, I'm truly grateful for my time with Blink, and I'm truly happy you guys are a band and a family again. So he's cool with just having it have been temporary and going back to doing his thing. So that is a story on Blink-182. All right, one more story here as we wind out, and that is, of course, about Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters. And it's not a great news story. I'm not super excited about it, but what are you going to do? The Foo Fighters are going to perform on SNL before the writer's strike. They were scheduled to perform as musical guests on May episodes of Saturday Night Live, but the shows have been canceled due to the current Writers Guild of America strike, Entertainment Weekly reports. Jennifer Coolidge and Kieran Culkin were set to host the episodes. Also, Pete Davidson was gearing to host this weekend's episode of Saturday Night Live, but that was canceled too due to the strike. So all the late night shows are not having any shows. They're showing solidarity with their writers. And there are also other shows that are airing reruns and stuff, right? So the Foo Fighters are going to release their new album, but here we are on June 2nd. It'll be the band's first record since Taylor Hawkins died last year. So that means sometime in the next month, I would imagine we will find out who the new Foo Fighters drummer is, or who's temporarily replacing, filling the spot of Taylor Hawkins, or if they're going to have people cycling in and out, filling that spot. Hard to tell what that will look like, but they're going to fill it somehow, right? And the Foo Fighters will be out and about. And I'm excited to see the Foo Fighters in August when they come to Lake Tahoe. Got my tickets, super stoked. So, all right. These are my glasses for those that are watching on YouTube that my dog chewed up. There's no lens in the left eye over here. So won't be wearing these, but need to go find some new ones. Thanks, Navy, for chewing up my glasses, you little bitch. Anyway, I'll leave that where it is. I'm pretty disappointed, but we'll work through it, right? All right, that's our show for today. Thank you for tuning in. For all of us here at Concert Pipeline, I'm Steve Jones. We'll catch you next time.